in now.
N6PGQ.
Welcome. Anybody else?
Alpha India 6 Delta Golf.
Go November, Ken.
Alpha India 6 Delta Golf. Please go ahead. The next person, please.
November 6 Kilowatt Echo November, Ken.
Ken, please come back again with your call. I'm sorry.
This is November 6 Kilo Echo November. Kilowatt Echo November, Ken.
What a coincidence. Welcome, Ken. I'm sorry, I didn't quite recognize your voice. Okay, anybody else, please?
This is Kilo Pop 4 Mike Delta Carol.
Okay, Carol KP4MD. Is the audio working on YouTube now?
Affirmative, we have it going now.
Roger. So we have N6BGQ, AI6DG, N6KEN, KP4MD, and I will log myself in, KL7HQR. Anybody else? Very well. Thanks for everybody for checking in. And Bob, you being the first one, N6BGQ, if you have a picture, please go ahead.
Okay, let me see if I have a tone, if you wouldn't mind.
Yes, you have a tone. We heard okay.
Okay, very good. Well, this is going to be PD 120.
N6BGQ and the net, KL7HQR. Very good copy, Bob, and no problems at all. Very few artifacts, if any. So let's go to AI6DG, Joel, for your comments.
Okay, so we're in front of, I don't know, a clubhouse or a hotel or something. A bunch of trees in the background, you can see the trunks of a couple of palm trees, and to the right in a landscaped area. Probably in a parking lot, and we're looking down a row of old cars. They're probably Model A's or T's or something like that. First one in the row is engine's obviously running and in not bad shape, but it does need to be restored. It is definitely not in the best of shape. Next one back looks really nice, definitely restored, good upholstery, lots of chrome and shiny. And look, I can't really see the ones further back. There's like three or four more of them going back. All looking quite nice, and with the engine cowling off. So these are probably like, I don't know, 20s or 30s from the 1920s, 1930s. And I'm assuming that it's a club event and a nice day. Hopefully it wasn't too terribly hot. And I'm sure everyone's having a grand time. Back to net, the I-6TV.
Well, thank you, Joe, for the comments and good description of the picture. N6NA Ken, please go ahead for your comments and review. N6NA Ken, if you care to, your chance to give us your opinion on how you received the picture. So go ahead. N6NA not heard, so we'll give him a chance in a second. KP4MD, you next in order. Your comments, please, Cal.
Sure, this is KP4MD. I saw exactly what everybody else described there, a row of antique cars with the motors or engines exposed. I don't know at all what you would call these model cars, but it looks like some proud owners have them lined up on display. And we have on YouTube, we have Craig, WP2N, from Ville Platte, Louisiana, middle of Cajun country, who's enjoying us sharing our pictures and discussing them here. So saying hi out there to Craig, WP2N. So back to Nets, KP4MD.
Thank you, Carol. And hello there to Craig. I'm looking at WP2 November. And so let's see. I have here the same comments, same pictures, and I know Bob went into a car show. I think he called it a car. I don't remember what you called it, Bob, but I know it was last weekend, and this is a good picture, and a lot of classic automobiles here. Some of them better restored than others, but I'm quite sure all of them are worth a lot of time and a lot of caring. So back, let's see if Ken is back. N6KEN, are you around for your comments, sir? Apparently not. Hopefully he'll come back. And back to you, Bob, for your clarification on where this picture came from. N6BGQ, KL7HQR, and the net.
Well, as you mentioned, my brother and I went on the annual Roadster run, which was supposed to have been around the Lake Berryessa area. They had it all planned. You get to the starting point and they hand you directions, and you end up somewhere for lunch and then take off again and end up somewhere for snacks and beer and stuff. This is an annual event, and so instead of going into 111-degree temperature, they headed off towards the coast, and we ended up going by Fort Ross and all the way down Highway 1 and going over twisty, curvy roads. Let me break this for a second. There was only one car out of the whole group, and this is a picture of about a third of the cars. I think there were about 24 or 25 cars in the group. There's only one car that had fenders on it. So these are all hot rods, and they all are Roadsters. Roadsters were the least expensive car that Ford manufactured because they didn't have roll-up windows. They had side curtains. It was a very light car. Every one of these, or almost every one of these, the one with the fenders wasn't, are all hot-rodded in some way. Most are period. The one in the front has top. Most of the others did not, and that's why we didn't really want to go into the valley. There was one car that was Cadillac powered, one car that was Buick powered, and the rest were all flathead Ford V8s. Mostly 32s, about 2/3 of them were 1932 Fords, and 1/3 of them were Model A's. The one in the front's a Model A, the second one's a 32. You can tell the difference because the Model A's had the gas tank in the cowl. It was sitting right over your legs. The 32s had the gas tank in the back. The Model A's, the radiator core was exposed, and the 32s had a grill. There's an awful lot of other differences, but those are the easy ways to tell the difference in the cars. So we drove all day and filled the tanks up 3 times and ended up going like to Katati and all the way around on the coast. Went by Fort Ross, I guess, as I said. N6PGQ.
Roger, Bob, before I pass it on for other comments and questions, what did you drive?
Oh, we drove my brother's very nice 32 Ford hot rod. Someday I'll take a picture of it and put it on the slow scan net. He has all period hot rod stuff on it, and he did it himself. It's a very, 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 very nice car.
Roger. I thought you had driven your own classic there. Anybody else may have some other questions? Possible, Joel there?
N6KN, am I making it?
N6KN, welcome back, Ken. Yeah, you're making it very well right now.
Okay, I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe this radio is finally telling me I need to upgrade. I switched over to 14525 and they gave me a good signal report. So anyway, I did give you a long-winded response, and then I was saddened that you guys did not hear it. But it's been quite a while, I think since February, since I joined this net. And I didn't realize until about 75% through Bob's transmission that I didn't have my signal link turned on. So all I got was a headlight and a tire. But at least I got that much.
Well, it confirms. That's the bottom of the picture. I don't know if you're looking at on YouTube. You can see the whole picture there with Carol has copied. Did you hear Bob's comments?
I did, thank you.
Roger. Well, if you have a picture, we'll go around and come back to you for your sending your pictures. Anybody else have any questions for Bob? Quite sure that there will be quite a few questions if Wilson was around. So, surprised that Joel doesn't have one.
That was a pretty good description. No questions. It looks like a fun day, and everything made sense that he said.
Very well. Thank you, Bob. Good picture. Okay, Ken. No, I think AI6DG is the next one. Is number 2. AI6DG. If you have a picture, please go ahead.
Nope, let's first say that it's PD120. And here goes.
N6DG KL7HQR on the net. Yeah, good copy here. Quite a few artifacts, but the picture came in very well. No problem at all. So let's go to Ken, N6KEN, for your comments and or questions on the picture. Ken, I hope you copied this one okay.
Yeah, 100% copy on that one. I'm not sure what it is, but it looks like a lot of PVC piping and maybe some type of water filtration device. Back to the group.
Roger, Roger. KP4MD, Carol, your turn.
Okay, it's KP4MD. Well, I'm going to guess, since Joel is a really high-tech guy, that this is underneath his operating position, and he's got all of these water pipes going to cool his CPUs. So that's kind of a water tank that's a heat sink for all the heat generated by all of his computers there. This is what I'm going to guess. So back to net, KP4MD.
This is KL7HQR, my turn. I think Kara is absolutely correct. I think looking at the size of the pipes and the amount of water probably is for his tuna ass, definitely QRP. And I see some timers. But anyway, Joe, obviously some, as Ken indicated, some filtering system, similar to some of the pipes that I have in my house for the swimming pool, although I have a small above ground that is much, much smaller than this. But it looks like some pipes with some open-close valves there. There's a special name for that I don't recall. On the right-hand side, there is a special tank with some blue items, which may be a filtering device. I see some timers in the bottom on the left side. But then I see some metal pipes and or rods or something, and inside the plastic container, right about in the middle lower part of the picture, that I don't know then what that would be. So let me pass it on to Bob for his comments and or questions. N6PGQ.
Boy, my guesser isn't doing real well. I noticed that all the ball valves are turned on, all three of them that you can see. Timers are at the bottom. They're 120 volt timers. At least it looks like it to me. You can see the rods at the bottom, and there's a tank on the right, which looks like it's got a breather tube coming out of it, and the bottom with the blue filling in it may have bubbles on the top of it. So that's all I can see. I don't have a clue what it is. I think he might be cooling a little more than his QRP rig. He might have, scooted up to QRO in 6PGQ.
Okay, Bob, that is as good a guess as anybody else. So let's see. AI6DG. Did we ever go too far away from the truth here?
I guess I'm the only one that does a fish and has big aquariums, because this is what's underneath the 180 gallon tank I have in the living room. And this is the sump and the wet dry filter and the plumbing for all of that. And it's a really odd shaped 180. I mean, most aquariums, they're standard sizes. Almost every time you go get an aquarium, there are certain sizes it's going to be. And there's some variations, but this was a custom tank because it's a really weird size. So between that and just the desire to do my own, I built a custom stand for it, and I built it so that it's more or less at eye level for me, or at least part of it is. Most aquarium stands, they're only a couple of feet off the ground, and that was just, to me, is ridiculous, because I'd have to bend at a 90-degree angle every time to look into it. So this is about, I don't know, 3.5 feet up off the ground. That for a 180-gallon tank is a risk, because that's probably, I don't know, 1,500 pounds of stuff. So the stand is very solidly built, 2x4s and 4x4s. It's folded to the slab. That's what, if you look at the extreme lower left, you'll see a round thing. Well, that's a bolt going through the base of the stand into the cement. There's in the four corners of the aquarium. The two rear ones are the outflow of the tank. Basically, there's a big pipe there that's called a stand pipe, and then when the water level goes above the edge of the stand pipe, the water flows out of the tank and through that corner that's in the left rear. And yes, it's open, and there's a ball valve there so that if I need to work on the plumbing underneath, I can close that valve and start detaching things and not have a flood. The two front holes are the returns, the water going into the tank. That's the ball valve that's on the extreme left. And again, if I ever need to isolate it, I can close the valve and do whatever. Now you'll see kind of a bulge in the piping that's coming out of that. That's a check valve, so it's kind of a double check. It lets the water go up and into. It lets the water go up and into the tank, but as the pump turns off, the pressure of the water comes down and shuts the valve. Again, protection against flooding. The type of filter is called a wet-dry filter, this is a sump. So there's two pumps in the bottom. Kind of in the center, you can't really tell what's there. They're by the two, what you're calling rods. And those two pumps one pump for each of the two inlets, and two pumps so that if one goes bad, I don't lose everything in the tank when they suffocate because there's no water circulation. The two rods are, I think there's actually one glass and one metal, but they're heaters. They're heaters to keep the water out of the ground, just under 80 degrees for the fish. The blue things on the right are what are called bio balls. And the way that this filter works is basically you've got water flowing into it. At the extreme upper right, you see a pipe coming down, and then a piece of PVC pipe going into the top of the right above a horizontal blue thing. The horizontal blue thing is a tray that has matte material that filters, mechanically filters debris that comes into there, and there's holes in the bottom of that, and the water then trickles down through all of the bottom holes and that white filter material. Basically, those are just providing large surface areas for a bacteria to live on, and they're beneficial bacteria in that they convert some of the waste products of the fish into less toxic material. The water drips down through those into the sump at the bottom, where the water collects and is pumped back up. And yes, there's two timers. Those have actually been replaced with cloud-based computer-controlled outlets because I do and don't trust mechanical timers like that. They have issues, they wear out, and the ones I removed, I've kept just in case the cloud ever goes away or something like that. Enough. Way too much. One comment. One final parting comment. That's a lot of water, and things always go wrong. So what's the first thing you need to get when you have tanks like this? A wet, dry vac to vacuum up the water when things really go wrong. Back to Net, AI6TG. Sorry for taking so long.
Yeah, N6CG and the group KL7HQR. Thank you for very, very good description. That's quite impressive and very elaborate. Only one question from my side. Is it salt water or fresh water? I assume fresh.
Roger, Roger. Fresh. Salt's a whole other ball game, and I haven't dipped my feet into that adventure yet.
Very well, very impressive. And anybody else has any questions for Joel?
N6PGQ, I do. Joel, how many fish do you have? What type? And what do you do with them when you clean the tank?
I don't really know how many fish are in that tank because some of them are big and some of them are small, but there's just too many of them to count because some of them multiply and some of them just move around too much. By the time you count 5 of them, they've already moved in, and you don't know if you've got 5 more or the same 5. Being a 180-gallon tank, there's enough room in there for much larger fish than a lot of keepers keep. It's basically, I've got a huge pile of river rocks in there, like football-sized rocks and maybe a little bit smaller. So there's lots of hiding places for them. So that makes it even harder to count. But when something gets dropped into that tank, they stay there. I'm not going in after them. It's just no way. It's a difficult access and too many hiding places, and they tend to move much faster than I can. Back to Net AI6CG.
KL7HQR. Any other questions?
Yeah, this is KP4MD. A question for Joel. Are these fish that you catch out there in Yosemite over?
Go ahead with your picture.
And we're doing PD90, not Martin 1. You guys still copy N6KEN?
Yeah, good copy, Ken. Go ahead.
I've got a picture ready, sending PD90.
Marcel, go ahead. N6KEN, KL7HQR, and the net. Copy, but since the picture has a lot of black background, the PayPal's artifacts are numerous. Some of those are part of the picture. And let's see, KP4MD, Carol, you're the first one on the list. Please go ahead.
Yeah, this is KP4MD. You saw the picture that I receive it streaming on YouTube, and looks like the Alinco handheld radio that's has DMR in it. I think that's if I'm not mistaken, what do you call a part 90 radio. So that'll also work on the commercial frequencies. But I guess that in the K6IOK, I could read that. That's the repeater up in Auburn. That's on DMR. Nice colored screen on there. Can't really see much in the background. It's something very dimly lit in the dark background. But just like Neil said, there's a lot of pop pixels there from the pave pause interference pulse on the frequency. So back to Annette, KP for MD.
Well, thank you, Carol. Appreciate that. And yeah, same thing I get in here. There is a brown or tan surface where the radio is standing, and I did not recognize the model of the radio, but yes, I can see the K6 are okay, DMR, and a few other items on the screen there. So let me send it to Bob, N6PGQ, for comments.
Well, you guys have it just about taken care of. I can see the knobs on the top of the radio, and it looks like an antenna connection on the left side. Push to talk, you know, in the expanded portion of the radio, looks like that's there, and that's about it.
Yes, sir, Bob. Thank you. EA6DG, Joe, please go ahead.
I'm thinking this is on a, you know, like a patio table or a backyard table. Now, and this is being used in the backyard or on a patio. That would also explain the dark background. And it also looks to me like there might be an aspect ratio going on here. Is this a 16:9 photo that's been squeezed into a 4x5?
Well, let's find out. N6KEN, please go ahead with your clarifications. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so this is I don't have a photo to share. Let me go take one really quick with my iPhone, upload it through Gmail, and then quickly get it in there without formatting it. Yeah, it's the Alinco's newest DMR radio for hams, that DJ MD5XT. And it's just sitting on top of my Yamaha keyboard and for a quick photo with poor lighting. So apologize for that, but wanted something to share, and I was excited to share this because I just purchased this this past weekend on Saturday, and was kind of intimidated by DMR and everything that goes with it, and was surprised that after about a 20-minute YouTube and a quick Google search, I had it up and running and connected to two of the local repeaters because I don't have a hotspot. So this one is K6IOK up in Auburn. It's a 70-centimeter repeater, and it's currently tuned in here to the Sac Valley talk group. And the other one is K6DTV, which is on the KOVR tower, which is really good for coverage in the area, and that's a rare 2-meter DMR repeater. So I've had a lot of fun. A couple local QSOs, but mostly it's, talk groups around the world, hoping that more people get into the digital modes because it's a lot of fun. Back to the group, this is N6KN.
Thank you, Ken. That sounds like an interesting other new facet of ham radio that I have not been involved in. Anybody has any questions or any observations for Ken?
It's N6PGQ. Yeah, I was wondering, Ken, why you chose the Alinco over, like the, what are they, Baycoms or something that advertise a lot. What made you choose the Alinco, and how hard was it to put the code plugs in?
Bob, so this particular radio, the most popular one that I've seemed to to think is the Anytone. I think it's the 878 is the model a lot of people have. And this Alinco is, I think it's a clone of the Anytone, or maybe the Anytone's a clone of this one. But the software that you use is identical. The code plugs, you can take a Anytone code plug and use it in the Alinco. And this one just seemed more, I had a Alinco HT back in the early 90s, and so I know they support ham radio, so that's why I went with the Alinco.
Now go ahead, Bob.
Okay, yeah, very good. Yeah, that's the name of it. My brain just failed. Anyway, so the other question was, how hard was it to load all the code plugs in, and did you find it on the internet or another ham to give it to you, or what was the story about programming it?
I just looked up a YouTube video, which I'll be glad to share, and it went over the Alinco and building it. And basically, there's a couple parts. There's you have your channels, which is your frequencies, and then you have, which is like any other radio that you program, and then you have your talk groups, which are basically thinking of them as kind of like internet chat rooms. And there's a number and then a name associated with it. So for instance, this one, I don't quote me on what the number is, but it begins with 3. But it's for Sac Valley. And then you have zones, which you bundle all those frequencies, which are channels and talk groups together to create a zone. And it's kind of like a scan list. And that's pretty much all there's to it. You go to, repeater book and look for a repeater and find out what color code, which is kind of like a squelch tone, and what time slot they use, and plug it in. And a lot of this stuff you can download. So a lot of this stuff you just download as an Excel file and just import it into the program.
Okay, very good. Thanks for the information, N6PGQ.
And then another comment is that a lot of my intimidation was that I thought I had to have a hotspot, like a Zoom spot or an open spot, and spend, $100, $200 extra. But in our area, we have great coverage for both 2 meters and 70 centimeter DMR, so it's very lucky to have that in our area.
Well, okay, Ken, N6KEN, thank you very much. That we looks like we're learning every night here, different facets, different experiences from different people. So thank you so much for sharing that. KP4MD, finally it's your turn, Carol. Please go ahead.
Okay, this is KP4MD, and this is going to be sent BW12. BW12.
I have to say that was the quickest picture I have seen. Well, thank you, Carol. You came through okay. No problem at all. Obviously, a drawn, a cartoon drawn. I see an automobile with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 antennas. A porcupine up front who seems to be falling in love with a car. So let me send it to Bob, see if he could copy that. N6BGQ.
Yeah, I copied it just fine. Since it came in so fast, there were very, very few artifacts. Yeah, it's got all sorts of antennas with different designs on them. I don't think whether the person that drew the art actually has ever used an antenna that's at the rear of the car, but you get the idea. And the guy's got his arm hanging out the left window, and the porcupine's fallen in love. That's cute, Carol. I like it. N6PGQ.
Okay, your turn, Joel, AI6DG.
Yeah, I remember getting a transmission in a mode, this mode or something very similar in the past, and it is startling. You're expecting it to take a lot longer, and all of a sudden, boom, you got a picture already. It's kind of amazing, the speed and the quality, even though I'm assuming this is only monotone or two-color, black and white. And yes, cute photo. I mean, hams have their have their own sense of humor, and you can make a whole comic book section of just ham humor. Geez, I wonder if there's a booth at the conventions, ham conventions for that. Back to that AI6DG.
Good copy there. And Ken, since this is addressed to you from KB4MD, let's see if you could copy it, okay?
A solid copy, and yeah, I was astounded by the 12-second picture. That was awesome. I'm glad we're trying out different receive modes here at 6KN.
Very well, Carol. Looks like it was a success. It came across very well. I do have one picture here that I would like to send. Let me make sure that I can. I should have been prepared here. So this is going to be a PD-120. Very well, so that's my version of a summer activity. N6PGQ, your turn.
Well, the angle's not quite right, but I recognize Neil's backyard, and there's his lounge chair. And I can't remember if he had ordered Corona or Budweiser, but he has a glass swimming pool filled with an amber liquid and a good head. and there's his ladder on the right. The picture quality is really good. I'm really disappointed that the angle didn't show his urban beam, but that's Neil's backyard, N6 PGQ.
Hey, Joe, back to you for your comments while Bob pushes his nose back in. N6DG, please go ahead.
And I was really confused for a while looking at this, trying to figure out why in the heck one side of the pool was sticking out of the ground more than the other. And then you started talking, and I realized it was a joke. So now I understand. Yes, dive in and you keep cool and refresh at the same time. I want to know where's the ham radio? I mean, you got to have a table somewhere you can put the ham station on. Where's the antenna? Where's wrong angle. Where's the mast and beam? And you really have one of those lines like that on the grass in your backyard? No cement patio or anyway. Looks cool. Looks refreshing. Looks like a nice backyard. Back to Nettie, I6TV.
Roger, thank you. N6KEN, could you copy that?
QSL 100% copy there on the picture. It's a great picture. And it made me think of a Rodler, which is a drink I used to get. I went to Germany when I was 18 with the Army, and I had never had a sip of beer up until that point. In my first night, one of the kids came up to me and said, "Hey, let's go out for a beer," and I told him I don't drink. He said, "Well, you're starting tonight." And sure enough, I had my first Pilsner, and enjoyed quite a few the next 2 years over there. But the summer drink was a Rodler. It was half beer and half lemonade, and it was quite delicious.
Well, I tell you what, Ken, if you're going to start drinking beer for the first time, you could find a much worse place than Germany. Any kind of beer in there tastes good. So I never tried that, though. I'm going to see if I can give it a try. KP4MD, could you copy that? I think I can see on YouTube, but please go ahead.
Yeah, this is KP4MD. It's a very nice Photoshop picture there. And I like the bubble bath that was thrown into the top of that swimming pool. What you need is an inflatable pretzel to float in there. I think that would make a good compliment to that. Back to you.
Gil 7-inch gun. Now that you mention it, a little floater so you can float in there with a long straw. So that would be a good idea. And anyway, like Ken, I was in a hurry here trying to find a picture to use tonight. And the wife had received this on one of those communiques on the telephone. So I spent about 15 minutes trying to transfer, and it turns out that the size was just pretty close. It was 900 by 480 or something like that. It was very small resizing. So anyway, I thought it would be appropriate for the summer. And if I had to fill it up, probably St. Pauli's Girl, probably some of the Mexican beer. So anyway, we have here now about 10 minutes to 10 or 5 minutes to 10. What do I have here? I have 9:53. We still have time for one more picture. If anybody else has a picture that would like to send before we close. Okay, now I didn't hear anybody, so it was fun tonight. It was very different types of pictures, and learn a little bit as always. So we would like to thank everybody who participated, Bob and Joel and Ken and Carol, of course. And we will be back here at 9 o'clock next Wednesday with a new session. And Ken, now that you found us again, please don't be a stranger. You're very, very welcome. And we will be closing the net at this time with standing by one. Stand by one. That's just the right time that the computers start making a glitch here. But anyway, we'll be closing the net for tonight. So thanks everybody who participated. 73 is good night. This is KL7HQR, net control for the N6NA SSTV net for tonight. Good night, guys.